Hey guys, welcome to the third session of cybersecurity basics. If you've seen the first two sessions, we have till now covered the basics of cybersecurity. We've also covered the types of malwares, and in the last session, we also attempted to define what is a hacker. If you've not seen these sessions, just go back to this channel. There are the previous two sessions from the last week. You'll be able to see those videos. And once you've done that, you should proceed and see this video where now in this session, we are going to discuss about major types of cyber attacks that happen in today's world. So, according to the security major CrowdStrike, a cyber attack is an attempt by cyber criminals, hackers, or digital adversaries to access computer network or systems, usually for the purpose of altering, stealing, destroying, or exposing information. Right. So, in simple terms, we are saying that there's an attacker who has a malicious intent. He has got some intent to disturb the legitimate stuff that you're doing. Either he wants to steal your data, he wants to, disturb your business model, malign you, or there are some people who just do it for fun, right? So let us see some of the major types of cyber attacks. Okay? There could be any number of cyber attacks. In fact, as we speak, there are various types of new malware strains, new ransomware strains being discovered on a daily basis. In this video, we are going to attempt to define some of the major ones that are normally discussed in the cybersecurity parlance. So let's go ahead and see what they are. The first one is the malware attacks. In the previous video, we saw what is a malware. We've already learned the definition, which basically means a malicious software, something harmful such as a virus or a ransomware that is being made specifically to disrupt your legitimate work, either to steal or defame, right? So we've seen there were various types of malwares in the previous video. Now here we are saying that an attacker will use one of these malware types to get inside your systems. So this specific thing is called as a malware attack. How can they get in? There are various ways in which they can get the malicious software inside your systems. But most of the cases, it is a human error or oversight on our side that actually promotes the entry of a malware into your system. Maybe we just click on some malicious link, maybe we get spoofed, or there's some phishing attempt. As we go along in this video, I'll try to attempt and try to give you a view of what all things that we unknowingly do that can actually cause a malware to get into your system. Let's move on. Now, as I said, one of the ways in which this malware can enter into your system is a phishing attack, right? So we know phishing, F-I-S-H-I-N-G, to catch fish, where we just put a bait and then we wait for the fish to grab it and then we pull it out, right? So P-H-I-S-H-I-N-G, also phishing, is a similar kind of attack where a hacker probably sends you an email which looks like a very legitimate email. It could be your boss or a friend or a company that you know, and then there will be some urgency in that message. Okay, I just want this information right away. Can you upload your balance sheet on the link given below, or something like that, right? And you unknowingly do it because the first thing, if my manager is sending me an email, the first thing I would see is that, oh, he wants something from me very urgently. So before looking at whether that email has actually come from him or somewhere else, it is possible that I might respond, right? Or there could be a link, on WhatsApp. Nowadays we get these messages that, okay, these are the some offer is going on Amazon, and if you click on this, you get a 50% discount coupon and all that. We end up clicking, and then that's the clickbait, and then obviously an adware or a spyware or a malware might get downloaded. So this is a very important kind of an attack. Organizations spend huge amount of money to train people again and again, every 5 months, 6 months, every year, to give them a knowledge of how they should not fall for a phishing attack. This is an extremely important one, guys, irrespective of whether you are from this field or from whether you are in technology or not. Uh, to guard yourself against phishing is extremely important. Okay, let's move on a little on a technical side. SQL injection attack. Are you aware of SQL? It's a database. It's basically called as a structured query language. It's a programming language used to communicate with the databases. Databases simply means, let's assume a container where you have all your records stored, right? It's like a file container where you have all your papers stored. Similarly, you can just imagine that it looks something like that in the virtual world, right? And it has every information. Now, like your computer, the hard disk of your computer, there's a storage, there's a program written to access that storage, right? So it could have your social security numbers, it could have your driving license, could have your credit card numbers, could have your mobile numbers, bank account information. I don't know how many records that database might have, right? Now, to access that database, there is a software written, and then it queries that data, and then you get the information that you ask for. Now, imagine if somebody else writes a program, a hacker writes a program where the query to that database is made by him, not you, right? To ask for the same legitimate information, right? So there could be some vulnerabilities in the SQL, and this SQL vulnerability is then exploited by an attacker, uh, which basically gives an impression to the database that this query is legitimate, and the attacker, just might extract information from a website. For example, they might query that in a search box, and as a result of it, every password stored in that database might just be visible to the attacker. So these are one of the most common types of attacks hackers use for websites which are storing critical data but are not safe enough. There are various tools that are available in the market which prevent such kind of attacks. Maybe in some other video we'll talk about it. Okay, here, this is another type of attack you should remember. Another one in a similar vein, cross-site scripting attack. It also involves in injecting a malicious code into a website, but in this case, they are not hacking the website, right? They are not interested in what a website is doing. In the previous attack in SQL injection, we saw that we attack the website to extract data out of the website. Here, it's like a thief hiding somewhere, waiting for his target. Imagine you are traveling in a train, and you have your wallet, your purse with you, with cash and your cards and all, and there's a thief who's who might look like any other normal human being, and he will steal your wallet. So here, it's not the train that is malicious, right? It is the thief who acted maliciously, but on the train where you were traveling. You could have traveled every day and nothing happened. One of the days, the thief entered and you lost your wallet, right? That's what cross-site scripting does. So websites which are not adequately protected, this script could probably run in a comment, or maybe it could be a malicious JavaScript out of a pop-up or something, right? You click it and then you become the target. The website will just it will just keep running fantastically well without any issues, and you will see, oh, everything was normal. I don't know how I got hacked, right? Cross-site scripting for you. It's like a tongue twister to me now. Okay, session hijacking. It's another very important type of an attack, right? Again, before I explain this, let me give you another example. Now you are logging into your core banking, your bank account, right? Your personal bank account. You've logged in. Now, when you are accessing your bank account, the usual expectation that you have is that you are sitting here, keying your information, accessing your own bank account, and there's nobody else who's looking at it right now. I mean, not exactly over the shoulder, but in the virtual space, the session is limited to you, right? This session that you have opened, whether you're transferring money, accepting money, or just doing some things in your bank account, downloading a statement, whatever, you trust the bank that this session will be limited only to you. But what if there is somebody else who probably might have stolen your credentials, and or if not stolen, but the laptop is hacked, and then you have keyed in and there's some keylogger here, so they know what your credentials are, and they will pose in front of the bank on, on behalf of you, as if the bank system will know that it is you who is accessing it, but actually it is the hacker, and then they have the access to your information. They can just transfer the money or whatever, right? They can do all kinds of malicious activity. So there are two types of session hijacking. Either a hacker is posing somebody like you, in front of the bank. Let's say for a bank, we can consider that. Let's say it's a bank website, or you are accessing your bank account using your laptop or a mobile, and there is somebody else sitting in the middle, keeping an eye on the whole transaction, probably stealing data on the way. So if it is a legitimate session that is being created by a hacker on your behalf, then it is session hijacking. If it is the hacker who's sitting in the middle, right, just observing the session, trying to steal the data while the legitimate session goes on, then this kind of attack is called as man in the middle. Another very common attack, because most of these bank websites, all these systems are really robust, right? It's not possible to hack them. It's very difficult to hack them, rather, I should say. So what people do, they cannot enter the bank vault, they cannot rob you outside, so they will stand at the gate. The moment you come out of the bank with money, they will steal. That's what is man in the middle, right? I hope I was able to explain it in a simpler manner. Let's move on. One of my favorites, distributed denial of service. Imagine you, again, let's come back to the banking environment, but this time let's imagine that we are actually physically visiting a bank branch, right? Imagine there are about you and another 5 people visiting the branch, maybe one by one. You can easily get in, you can stand in a queue, and your work is done, right? Imagine if there are 500 people trying to get into the same banking branch through the same gate all at once. What will happen to the gate, right? It gets choked. The first thing the security guard does is that he closes it and says, no going inside. Even if you are a legitimate user, no, sorry, we cannot let you in. That's what the attackers do. What they do is they, I would say, build so much of traffic, so much of pings on that website. If it's an internet banking portal, let's say, or it's a ticketing portal, or it's an e-commerce website, right? They'll generate so many pings. So which means that the website will think there are so many legitimate users trying to log into that website, that the capacity of that specific website or a web application, it will crash. Maybe it is capable of doing about 100,000 concurrent users, and suddenly if there are 2 million concurrent users, then obviously it will crash, right? This is the most commonly used attack when you want to shut down a specific website, right? Just flood it, and then it is not accessible to most of the legitimate users, right? Now, it is called as a denial of service attack, but then obviously a single system or a group of systems, a small group of system, is not capable of creating that kind of flood into a specific website. In the previous session, we heard about Mirai botnet, right? So normally these botnets are these are the bots which spread across the world. They sit on vulnerable computers just like yours and mine, and then they use the computing power of our systems to orchestrate such kind of DDoS attacks on their targets. So this is called as a distributed denial of service, which means that a specific website can get a ping from here, from Saudi, from India, from Australia, from US, from China, from everywhere. And then it kind of crowds that website or an application, thereby shutting it. That's your distributed denial of service attack. Some common things that normally happens: credential theft or reuse of credential theft, right? Now, how many of you, and you can comment on the video, or you can just, how many of you actually use the same password for multiple websites? I know people who probably use the same PIN for all of their debit and credit cards. Why do we do that? Because it's very easy to remember. Now, imagine you lose one password and then you don't even remember how many websites have you entered the same password, and you end up compromising all of your web or logins in all of these websites and applications, right? If you have the same PIN across your debit card and credit cards, anybody who's stealing it might just use it all across. So that's what is credential theft and reuse. Now, there are various ways in which the hacker can actually try to find out what are the credentials that you're using. The keyloggers and all that we have seen in the previous session. So they are one of the ways. They can just use brute force. They can use dictionary attacks. So dictionary attacks is basically they write a program to make guesses based on the profile and all. And there are various ways they can actually try to steal your theft. So let's say one of your account gets compromised, it's still fine. If you have multiple password, at least you can limit the hacking to a specific instance. So, and there are various password managers available, like 1Password, or there are various ways to prevent all these happening, such as multi-factor authentications, the Google, Microsoft Authenticator, the IBM Verify, all that is available that can be put to use in order to prevent the credential theft by the hackers. Let's look at some of the more recent ones. Let's say when we talk about zero-day exploits, what I'm essentially talking about is that a vulnerability or a problem which you have discovered just now in your system or your program web application, but you don't know the cure for it, right? You have not yet fixed that. So these vulnerability is discovered today. So that's why it says 0 day. I mean, the day has just started. So the first day has not completed, right? The start of a 24-hour day is a 0 day. Right now I have discovered, but what if apart from me, if the hacker has also discovered, then he is, and he is capable enough, he can exploit this vulnerability and put the malicious code into my system. So most of the hacking happens due to 0 day vulnerabilities, where we know right now that the vulnerability is there, and by the time we find out a fix or a way to get over it, probably the hacker has already done its job. So this is one of the very new and recent but ongoing kind of exploits or attack types, which is very commonly used. Another type of attack, DNS spoofing. Now, this is also very, very common. And I'm very, very sure that many of you might have encountered this attack a lot of time, right? Let's say you have an account, banking account in HSBC, right? And you know the URL, right? hsbc.com, or whether it is something else, right? co.in or something. So you know that URL, but how many times you actually verify, right? So there's something in your bookmarks, you just go there and click and you put your credentials and that's done. What if a website's DNS, a domain name system, is routed to a different website altogether? So you might just log into HSBC, and while you clicked on a wrong link and you think it is HSBC, but the title bar is showing HBSC, right? But the website looks like HSBC, and you just go on and put your internet banking credentials. You would log in and you'd say that, okay, it's not logging in because probably the internet banking tool is down. So you would say, oh, okay, maybe I'll try some other time. But what it has done actually is that it has spoofed your website and collected your credential. What in this type of attack, what happens is that the attacker takes advantage of the fact that the user thinks the site they are visiting is legitimate, but actually it is not. And because of this, what happens is that, people like you and me, we are gullible people, right? So we would actually end up giving our credentials, and the hacker then gets the ability to commit the crimes in the name of HSBC. So who would you blame when your account gets hacked or some money would get stolen, right? You would say it is HSBC who did it to me, but it's the innocent company. Who has actually given this free hand to attacker is us by clicking on a unverified link, even though it seems legitimate. So it's always good to clear out your history and always type the names of the company that you know, maybe go through Google, and that is how you should go. The bookmarks is a good thing, but that, it's better that you keep on checking this in order to avoid these kind of attacks. Right, so these are some of the important cyber attacks we covered. There could be many. If you think that I have not covered some of these things, please write in comments or you reach out to me, and I'll be happy to give you whatever knowledge, limited or not, I have. I'll be happy to help you. All right. So in the next session, we will be covering introduction to the deep and dark web. I don't know if you're aware of it, but the internet facing things that we do, which are, so how do I say? So all of these things that you find on Google is hardly a single digit percentage of things that are there online, that are there on the systems. That is called as a surface web, right? What is there in below the surface web and what is there below the deep web? Surface web, deep web, and the dark web, something that nobody knows. Deep web, people have some idea. Surface web, everybody knows because that is searchable. The query can be done on a Google, right? So we will know this whole very interesting world of the web, right? The www in the next session. Do not miss, and keep liking the video, keep commenting. If you like this, share it with young technocrats, students, or anyone you think that these cybersecurity videos are helpful to them. I would urge you to comment, like, share this video as much as possible. And if there are any cybersecurity topics you would like me to cover, I am more than happy to help. Thank you for listening to one more session of cybersecurity. I look forward to the next session on deep and dark web. Thank you very much. Bye bye.